Today, I'm going to be answering your questions that you guys asked over on the Ecom season Instagram. I have screenshotted through some of the comments. If you want the chance to get some of your questions answered in a video, just make sure to follow us over on the Ecom season page, which, by the way, again, I always want to mention this, is a phenomenal resource for asking questions, and we post there almost every day without failure. New updates, industry updates, different tips, tricks, things are going on, Facebook strategies, the whole work. So we're going to jump right into some of these questions here. Make sure to smash a quick like down below. I'm going to let you know about something fun we're doing here in a moment. One of these things I just want to touch on this point first, and then we'll just leave it alone for the rest of the video. We made a post a little while ago, as of when you guys will be seeing this, talking about what the ideal startup budget is. And before we, and when I say we, I mean just as a company, what we do and how we structure things inside of our agency, I said, what do you think? And I posed it as a question. I said, what do you think is the best budget? And you can think in your head right now, how much money do you need to start an e-commerce business? Now, that's a front-end loaded question because you don't have a perspective on what type of e-commerce business. I didn't specify. So a standard e-commerce based business would typically mean inventory, warehouse, label printers, packaging, a couple employees. Like you're talking about a large infrastructure. At least $500,000 would be my opinion on that. Now, there's other routes you can take, and typically we're talking about the drop shipping model because we drop ship correctly. Not all of my brands are drop shipping, not all of our clients are drop shipping, but it's a great entry point. And so most of the people who are responding on here, I'll just read through some of these, $2,000, $10,000, $5,000. After a few courses, $2,500 plus some sort of monthly cash flow. I like that answer. A couple $100. Like people are saying a lot of different things, okay? Now, we revealed our answer, which is $2,000 after any information and anything you need to use to get started. However, I don't care if you're starting with $500, $5,000, $50,000. The biggest crucial key that's going to really be a big determining factor in success with e-commerce is, do you have additional income that you can put towards that? Because if you have $1,000, you can start today. If you have $2,000, you can start today. But if that's all you have and there's no chance of you ever getting additional money, I would be worried. That would make me very uncomfortable. And so for an example, we don't really like to work with clients where that's a situation. We'll straight up tell people on the phone, that's the only way, by the way, is an entry point into our agency. We talk to everybody individually, okay? And if that's their situation, they have $1,000, $2,000, we'll say, look, it's probably a better idea for you to save up a little bit more, have a bigger nest egg to work on and get some sort of income. Then we can talk about potentially managing all your Facebook ads and building an e-commerce business for you, right? So we just like to do that because that's how we structure things as well. So that's the budget side of things. Now let's jump into some of these questions here. Trip to Trill said, when do you know when it's time to scale? When I'm testing, I have profitable days and unprofitable days. When do I level up? Now, scaling just means more. The word scale will depend on how you view the word scale, but it just means more of, spending more on ads, spending more to make more is the ideal situation. Well, in this situation where he said, some days I'm profitable, some days I'm not, well, that doesn't sound like an ideal situation. Would you want more of that? Would you want bigger days that are profitable and bigger days that are unprofitable? It sounds like you'd just be scaling the size of your headache. So I replied to this over on the Ecom season page, and I was like, one of the things you got to think about is you need to optimize that before you scale it because you're not in an ideal situation. So that could, by the way, the optimizing could mean adjusting the budget. That could be part of it. But that all comes down to your ad strategy. So I was pushing and probing ultimately to figure out where this person learned their ad strategy. And we'll talk about this in other videos. We've talked about it. It should be genuine common sense. But if you are trying to build a business, especially in the e-commerce space, especially with something as competitive as paid marketing on one of the few primary platforms like Facebook or Google, you need to realize the level of competition there, the level of in-depth strategy that goes into that, and the fact that people, like, not to get whatever hot-headed, but like myself for 5 years has dumped insane amounts of time, insane amounts of focus, sacrificed so much, and spent all my money for so many years on getting good at that one skill, and I'm still not the best. If you come into there with no education, you've watched their YouTube videos and think you can get something working, it's just going to be the biggest financial sinkhole. Okay, and so that's the first understanding of an approach. Now, to relate this to this person's situation, profitable for a few days, unprofitable for a few days. That fluctuation means, okay, there's something going on, something's working a little bit, but there's variables that are making this inconsistent. It's probably the ad strategy. I guarantee you that's part of it. That could relate to budget, could relate to a lot of things, how they're running their ads, what type of ads, all that stuff. Well, it could also be the price of the product. It could also be the audience testing, different things like that. But at the same time, it could also be individual points, like let's say they are running things that are not optimized for purchase, right? They don't really have a specific strategy. They're running view content or things that are for page likes and stuff. So I think something's working. I think it might be an issue with the product, it might be an issue with the creative, maybe you're pricing it too high. Maybe you need to try more products in that niche because there's just things that won't optimize too well. So that's something to keep in mind. I think that if you're getting sales a little bit inconsistent, you're losing a little bit of money, that's a totally okay place to be. You just don't want to be there forever. So you don't want to scale in that position. You got to optimize. All right, so that's a good one. Another one on here specific, my ad is not performing good in PST nighttime. I am turning off the campaign and restarting it at the best time. Will that affect my ad performance? I tried to reply to this as quickly as I could and in the most alertive way. I said, please no, please no, please no, please no, please no. Don't do that. Never, ever, ever. Like there is not a situation on earth where I would do that individually, where any of our currently 14 media buyers inside of our advertising agency would do that. They've not been trained to do that. If they did that, I don't want to say that they would get fired, but I mean, that would be like, we would be speaking to them directly, like, what the hell was that? So you would never do this for a simple reason. If you're toggling on and off your ad every day and you turn it off for a 9-hour period because it doesn't really optimize, well, yeah, if your audience is in the US, you're not getting sales at night, maybe the occasional one that's not your prime time. Every campaign, every ad set has prime time. Well, if you really want to segment out, you can do what's called a TOAC ad, a time on ad account separation based on a lifetime budget. Those are slightly more advanced strategies, and learning how to launch that, the types of windows on times, the types of budgets based on daily budgets, all those different things. Again, that's where it comes down to strategy and knowing what you're doing. That's one strategy that we show inside of our Facebook program. Okay, so this question specifically, the answer is no. It will absolutely, well, the answer is yes, it will affect your thing. The answer is, should you do it? No, never. Because you're not giving your ad time to optimize. Facebook, Google, doesn't matter what platform, they need to run. It needs to optimize. Otherwise, you're just minimizing the performance that it can ever get. There's no real long-term value there. You can't really scale it. So if you want to separate the point of which your time, the time where your ads are running, you're going to need to do either a time on ad account or a time on viewers ad account breakdown, and that can only be done based on a lifetime budget. That gets a lot more complicated. I view that as the middle step between normal budgets and manual bidding. So if you want to learn that or do that, we talk about that stuff a little bit inside of our programs. I guess I'll just mention it here. We are doing, I believe today, as of when this video is going up, and possibly tomorrow, you'll have to check on the link below. We are doing our e-commerce program, the entire brand new performance dropshipping program. That's normally $900. You're going to be able to get that for $497, and we're going to include our entire Facebook program, which is another $500 for free. So we're going to do that little bundle deal. We want everybody to have access to all of the business structure side of things with all of the resources, all the industry connections. We have all the information on structuring things correctly, from legal, taxes, processors, ad accounts, everything to drop shipping with fast shipping times, like the whole 9 yards, and the marketing. Because all that stuff, everything versus just Facebook ads is harder, 100%. So that's why they're separated. So we'll give you guys access to both of those if you want to check that out in the link below. Okay, another question on here. Is it possible to get a real merchant with a foreign LLC, no social security number? Yes, a merchant is primarily based off of a legitimate bank. So whatever country you're in, just go talk to some banks. I'm sure they have merchants for businesses. You can sit down with them and discuss that. When you're overseas, meaning outside of the US, it can be a little bit more of a headache, especially if you don't have a social security number, but there's absolutely many, many different solutions. A quick Google search will turn up dozens. So definitely check that out. And then we'll answer one final one here that I really liked. And by the way, all these are being answered on the Instagram page. We're making entire posts for some of these questions. How to scale with minimal issues. Well, wouldn't that be a dream, right? The fact that Facebook doesn't let you spend as much money as you want to. The fact that if something's working and you want to spend, you're spending $10,000 a day and you want to go to $100,000 a day, well, it should just be as simple as raising that budget and the results raised, but it's not. So ultimately, when I look at scaling, you got to look at, I'll break this down in another video for you, internal versus external. Scaling, typically when people talk about that, they're talking about their advertising. How do I spend more to make more? The internal variables are the things on the ad account. The ad strategies, how are you raising the budget? How frequently? Is it a CBO? Is it an ad set budget? How many ads are underneath there? The ad strategy. And then external is every other variable, which is arguably more important. Can your customer support handle that? Are you still doing customer support? You don't want to do that when you're scaling. Does your supplier, or are they able to keep up with the orders? Do they know that there's about to be an increase? What's the shipping time going to be affected by? Do you have custom packaging? What's your current chargeback and refund rate? Because that could affect your merchant as you scale, and those numbers could potentially become an issue. You got to know all these other external variables because that can all cause problems. And a lot of people scale and they don't solve those other things. Like for an example, ad creatives, they start scaling and they only have their one original creative. They haven't put any effort towards making more, ordering more, doing anything else to get more. You start scaling, then the one dies. What happens? you don't have any others ready to go sitting there, it's going to take you a week or two to make it. Your entire ad account's going to be dead by then, like 90% of the time. So there's just things like that, focusing on internal versus external. That's why it all comes down to strategy. So I wanted to answer a few of these questions. Again, if you want the full, a little bit more breakdown answer on a bunch of these and others, make sure to check us out over on the Ecom Season Instagram page. We got like 8,000 or 9,000 followers over there. I appreciate you guys showing love, support, asking great questions, and we definitely get a lot of super cool questions in the DMs. So we always answer things there. If you want help with anything, if you want to ask us about any of the programs, and then when it comes to the advertising agency, you got to book a call. So make sure you book a call. You can speak directly with our client manager who oversees our scaling clients as well as people starting from scratch. So that's kind of where we work with people. We take a super small retainer and then a percentage of the profits. And again, can either start from scratch or scale. So there's that. And then for the other resource, make sure to check out the e-commerce program link below. I believe it's going on today. If not tomorrow, just check when you get to the checkout page and see if it's $497. $497, that'll get you the entire performance dropshipping program, $900. And then after that, within about 24 hours, you'll be sent the Facebook Academy, which is just really focused on Facebook ads. A lot of great live examples, scaling examples, all that fun stuff. You'll get that for free. So we've never done that before. We want to do it here over the next week or so, just to help you guys get started on the right foot. All right. Or if you're trying to scale, there's a bunch of great strategies in there as well. I'm not here to judge. All right. Hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to drop a like. If you have any questions on anything we talked about, leave it in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.